No! Happy to have more muscle! But it's your last chance, Doomsnake! Pack the jammer! Let's go to work!
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG Build Guide Edition. Today I'm ready to drop on you my new iteration of my Void Knight. Stronger, faster, better resource management. As always, we will look at gameplay, skills, passives, gear, and of course break down the character sheet. Everything is timestamped in the description below if you need to bounce around. Let's not waste any time and jump right into this. Starting off with some gameplay, and of course this is empowered content. We are going to be using Abyssal Echoes, Erasing Strike, Volatile Reversal, Sigils of Hope, and Void Cleave. Now, Abyssal Echoes is going to be auto-triggered by Void Cleave, so you actually don't need this on your bar. You can use Lunge, which is a free movement skill. On top of that, I am rarely triggering Sigils. Sigils will auto-trigger through kills, but if you find yourself not getting lucky, you can manually cast them as well. So basically the way it works is you Void Cleave, which then puts Abyssal Echoes on the enemy, which then guarantees a crit on Erasing Strike, and then you use Volatile Reversal to get your mana back. Okay, that is the way it goes. So we Void Cleave and Erasing Strike. Pretty simple. Now, Erasing Strike, it is important to get as much cooldown as you possibly can, because it does take a little bit of time to get it back. But Void Cleave by itself does do decent damage, so as far as clearing little, trash packs, normally you can just do that with Void Cleave. And we will just keep going this way. And Abyssal Echoes will just keep re-triggering. It works really well. One thing I really like about this build is it doesn't involve a lot of clicking. It's like one big skill followed by another big skill. Everything's dead. And then you just keep kind of moving around. And you will notice that I have not clicked Sigils of Hope one time since I've been playing, and we have 4.
I cannot do that.
And you did, dragon. You did. That was very easy. Let's go fight a Shade of Oribus. Okay, empowered Shade of Oribus.
I cannot do that.
So this time I have to put my sigils up.
Unchanging. Nothing will remain.
Yes, yes, yes. Nice and patient. Big hits.
Nothing will remain.
I cannot do that.
Almost gotcha.
Nothing will remain.
One more. Let me show you how to recreate this build. Starting off with some skills, and the first skill we're going to look at is Volatile Reversal. Now what you want for this skill is you want 3 into Time Sap, 3 into Catching Up, 3 into Warp Time, 1 into Time Loss Vitality. This means you no longer restore health. That being said, you can put 3 points into Volatile Travel. Now this one's a little scary, but I do think it's worth it, but you could change it if it's driving you nuts. 80% of the time, you're going to get 60% of your life back. And 20% of the time, you're gonna lose 60% of your life. But you can use this so often that even under that 20%, you could just trigger it again and normally get your life back up, and you have life leech and health recovery, okay? But if this scares you, you can move these points down over here. You can go 1 into Terminal Void Rift, 1 into Dark Expanse, but again, you can move this into Dark Expanse, 2 into Traveler's Fatigue, 1 into Incipient Void Rift, and 2 into Shifting Power. Moving over to the big bad damage dealer, Erasing Strike, and you have an option here as well. You want 5 into Obliteration, 4 into Implements of Destruction, 2 into Dust to Wind, 4 into Merciful, 5 into Erasure of the Living. Now, I wish I had more points into Erasing Strike. Your chest armor is where you can get, 3, 4, or 2, 3, 4 plus level to Erasing Strike. We never found a good one, okay? That being said, these 5 points right here that give you kill threshold and damage, you could take these 5 points out and put 1 into Dust to Wind, 3 into Mark of the End, and 1 into Twin Cataclysms. And when you do this, you're basically going to get more shred, more area, and an extra charge. But if you are good with your clicking and you are disciplined, it is not needed. But if you feel like you are playing all the time and just Erasing Strike is always on cooldown, pull these 5 points out and go that route, okay? Both work great. I like it in this configuration, but some would argue that this way is better. Moving over to Void Cleave. You want 2 into the Depths, 1 into Precog, 1 into Riftmaker, 3 into Champion of the Void, and 1 into Obliterator. Basically, this whole line here is just to get this, and it basically means after you Void Cleave, you are guaranteed to get a critical strike on Erasing Strike. That is why you Void Cleave, and then you use Erasing Strike. It's also why you never have to spec into any crit chance for this build, only crit damage. You then want 3 into Dark Pathway, 5 into Fraying Strikes, and 1 into Cleave. Cleave makes it where Abyssal Echoes trigger after you Void Cleave. So this is the quintessential skill. It is going to guarantee your Erasing Strikes crit, and it is going to trigger Abyssal Echoes. And it is a movement skill, and it will kill all trash packs. Amazing skill. Now these last 3 points up here, Armor Sunderer. Basically, these 3 points are free. You can put them absolutely anywhere you want. If you want to boost up crit multiplier, if you want more void damage, I just put Armor Stack Shred because it works pretty much for everything. And just like I said with Erasing Strike, if you feel like Void Cleave, you're running out of it and it's always on cooldown because you're using it so often, you could take 1 point out of Fraying Strikes and put it right here into Nether Charge, and it'll give you an additional charge. With the cost of more mana, that is up to you. Moving over to Abyssal Echoes. Abyssal Echoes, you are really taking this skill for these 7 points right here. 3 into Crippling Waves, this puts slow stacks on the enemy, and then 4 into Void Supremacy. This is going to make it where Erasing Strikes and Void Cleave deal more damage to enemies that are slowed. That is why you Void Cleave, which then triggers Abyssal Echoes on the enemy, and then when you Erasing Strike, it's going to do more damage and guaranteed crit. It works perfectly. The other points I used was Deep Expanse, 5 into Deep Expanse, 1 into Vorpal Explosion, 1 into Screaming Rifts, 2 into Shrieking Echoes, 1 into Spreading Echoes, 1 into Overwhelming Doom, 1 into Fury Catechism, and 1 into Potent Corruption. We don't do damage over time on this build, so we are really just focused on raw void damage. And believe it or not, Abyssal Echoes in this form will help you kill enemies. Last but not least, Sigils of Hope, quintessential skill for any great Sentinel. You want 2 into Iron Sigils, 4 into Enduring Hope, 1 into Tetragram, 5 into Empowering Sigils, 1 into Last Wish. This is what allows it to auto-trigger on kill. 3 into Decree of Flame, 1 into Sigils of Despair. This turns it from fire to void. 2 into Word of the Alcriti, and 1 into Exgeniency, which makes it an instant cast, which is great because you don't want to wait around for it. Those are the skills. Moving over to passives, and my character's level 90 right now. Level 90. Starting in the base class, you want 8 into Juggernaut, 8 into Fearless, 5 into Armor Clad, and 5 into Valiant Charge. You want as much increased cooldown recovery speed as you can, because it really does help with Erasing Strike. You want nothing into Forge Guard. Under Paladin, you need to put 15 points in to unlock Sigils of Hope. 8 into Defiance, 2 into Valor, and 5 into Blinding Light. And these you can kind of mix and match around. If you don't need the Endurance, I did. You can put them more into health, or you can mix them around. I just go right down the middle here. Last, 61 points into Void Knight. 10 into Abyssal Endurance, 6 into World Eater. This is where you are going to get a majority of all of your leech from. 1 into Void Corruption. Every point you put in here, you will get crit multiplier, which means 61% crit multiplier from this singular point. It is awesome. Temporal Corruption, 6, 8 into Void Blades, 8 into Doom Knight, 4 into Woe, 4 into Singular Purpose, 10 into Eternal Form, and 4 into Dread. This is what I'm leveling right now because I like being fast, and of course it gives you Void damage. Those are the passives. Moving over to everyone's favorite gear, starting with idols. And I always say during this section, if you want to see true endgame gear, I snap my fingers and I have the best. Check out the advanced build planner in the description. It'll show you what you should really hunt for. But I like showing you what I'm currently wearing so you can match that to the gameplay and boss fight earlier. So starting with idols, this is the main idol you want to hunt for. This can roll up to 7 vitality and up to 90% melee void damage. Of course, we are melee void, and this one rolled at 81 and 6. So you would like to find 2 of these. On top of that, you can find increased melee void damage on the Grand Solar idols as well, okay? Moving over to gear, there's nothing that is truly required for this build, okay? It's not like you have to go find this to make it work. That being said, these very, very, very easy common dropped boots are amazing, okay? And this one we turned into legendary, and we were able to get hybrid health on it, which is great. It's going to give you +1 charge to void cleave. It's going to give you melee void damage. It's going to give you increased void damage and increased movement speed per added melee void damage. So all in all, very common, great pair of boots for the build, but technically not required, okay? If you did not have these boots though, I would say that inside of the skills, make sure you take that extra charge in nether charge, all right? But looking at the rest of the gear, we will go through it one by one. Helmet, cooldown recovery. Amulet, crit multiplier. Armor, vitality and health. Weapon, crit multiplier. Ring, lots and lots of void. Belt, mana regen, health. Ring, strength, void. Relic, crit multiplier, strength. Boots, you already saw, and our gloves, strength, health. That is the gear. Now let's take a look at the character sheet for this Void Knight. Again, I am level 90. I have 56 points into strength, 38 into vitality. Movement speed is 39, but you are going to get a big boost from Volatile Reversal. As far as resistances, fire is good, cold's okay, physical's maxed, void is okay. So everything is kind of evenly spread out. Obviously, we need to work on our resistances. Armor is decent at 44%. As far as defenses, endurance is maxed at 60. Endurance threshold is 761. Crit strike avoidance is 74. I plan on getting the rest of that crit avoidance from our blessings. When you go over to damage, the main damage stat you are looking for is critical strike multiplier. Right now we are at 458%, and then increase void damage 388%. So that is the character sheet. So now at the training dummy, can we get any decent damage numbers? And numbers that I am looking for is you can almost guarantee a 200,000 damage hit at the training dummy. But those are peanuts. We want to see if we can get over that 450, 500,000 damage. And as you can see from the gear I was using and my idols, you could literally double the output of this build very easily if you had the correct gear. So let's go ahead and get Sigils of Hope up.
I cannot do that.
And then we use our Volatile Reversal to get it back. All right, 328. All right, that is our starting mark. 429. All right, not too bad. 331,000. 314,000. I don't know if you saw that for a second, but Void Cleave hit for 98,000. And that's what I'm saying is this is going to clear most of your runs by itself. But obviously for erasing the entire screen, that's when you're going to use Erasing Strike. Let's try that again. $376. 388. 590,000 damage. We'll leave it right there. Last but not least, let's talk about how you level up this Void Knight. If you are level 1, where do you go? Well, for me, if you are a Sentinel, you level up your characters the exact same way every time. And all you need is 3 skills. You need Rive. And what you want for Rive is you want to come down here and get Focus Strike. This makes it where you get a guaranteed crit every 3rd hit. Then you want to come up here and you want to take Coup de Grace, which is going to give you Kill Threshold. And basically this entire tree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those 8 nodes will pretty much get you through the entire campaign. Now to back that up, you will take Shield Rush. This will be your movement skill so you can traverse through the campaign quick, and you are not going to actually use a shield. You're going to take this node right here, Dark Rush, which means you no longer require a shield, okay? Once you hit level 25, you are going to unlock Void Knight. Don't worry about going into Void Knight, worry about going into Paladin and spend your first 15 points in unlocking Sigils of Hope. And you would run Sigils of Hope basically to the left first. So I would take this, 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 and this, and then go to the right, but do not take Void. You only take Sigils of Despair once you actually go into Void Knight, okay? Once you have Sigils, Shield Rush with no shield, and Rive, based upon the way I configured it, you will get all the way to level 60. And I truly mean that. Now, the way you do it is you need to have weapons. And specifically, you need dual wielding weapons. So on here, as you can see, I've got all my weapons broken down by level, and I have the stacks of 2. So that way I could dual wield them. And you would start with Humming Bees, and then you would just keep moving up until you get Rainbow's Edge, and then you get Gladiator's Oath, and you just keep going down the line and upgrading your dual wielding weapons as you level up. And if you don't have access to leveling uniques, you just go to lastepochtools.com and you can go to one-handed weapons and you can see what level you upgrade to another tier. Those 3 skills with dual wielding, you'll fly through the campaign. All right, everyone, that's the build guide. What do you think of my new and improved Void Knight? Is there something I missed? Is there something I could do to take this to the next level? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget, in the description is the advanced loot filter and advanced build planner for this Void Knight. So if you have any questions, go there or ask me on the Discord. 2 asks at the end of this video. Ask number 1, I'm hoping today is the day I have earned your subscription. Hoping today is the day you make the decision to push that little red button. I would really appreciate it. It really does help the channel for the end of 2022. Ask number 2, check out my Patreon. Thank you to the first 47 members that have signed up. Become an instant ARPG VIP and get Patreon exclusive content at the first link in the description. We have a weekly blog post, weekly podcast, access to the VIP lounge where you could chit chat with me every single day, special Discord title, extra wheel spins at the end of every single month, and lots of other goodies depending on where you sign up at. First link in the description. I hope you enjoyed this Void Knight. And if you're still here watching, there is over 18 viable build guides for the current iteration of Last Epoch, so you can check those out as well. That's all I've got. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.